Here we are with one of the favorite topics of internet-y videos. Snakes having fights. I mean, who doesn't enjoy a good reptile battle? Especially when that particular reptile underestimates the situation and decides to get involved with an animal that gives it a surprise beating. That's a satisfying result for everyone. Except usually the naughty bad snake, that is. Here are times snakes messed with the wrong opponent. Number 5. Sand cat versus desert snake. These two animals live in the arid and exposed landscape of the desert. This means that they're often both crossing paths. Sometimes that goes smoothly and neither is bothered, but there are those occasions when the two animals meet and are reminded just how much they dislike one another, and it becomes necessary to express this in no uncertain terms. Like all cats, sand cats are, of course, psychos. They're an opportunistic hunter, and unlike your pet Fluffy, they kill to eat, not just to smear entrails across the linoleum. Given the unforgiving nature of the desert environment, sand cats will eat all kinds of creatures, and they are certainly not averse to a little snake appetizer. Furthermore, these cats are basically fearless and have a whole host of snake-killing skills at their disposal, which is just as well, really, or this one would be in serious trouble. Since sand cats have adapted to live without water for weeks at a time, they mostly get the moisture they need from the food that they eat. Because prey may be scarce, they'll often cover their hunt and return to it later, and although their main diet is small rodents, sand cats also eat hares, birds, insects, and reptiles. It doesn't bother them if the reptile is a venomous snake. So those desert snakes would do best to avoid these ruthless hunters. Number 4. Python eats porcupine, instantly regrets it. A porcupine has a whole load of suggestions as to why it might not prove to be the perfect meal option for any creature. In fact, a run-in with one of these spiky animals can prove deadly to even the king of the jungle. The porcupine's spines are unpleasant at best, vital organ piercing at worst, and in between they can jam themselves quite thoroughly into parts of the body from which they cannot be removed, and then prevent the afflicted animal from hunting or avoiding becoming prey itself. So that's a whole barrel of laughs then, isn't it? This massive python obviously did not get the memo. It seems to have squeezed the porcupine and then swallowed it whole, spines and all. It was spotted shortly after its large meal while it lay digesting. People speculated what the snake might have eaten to have given it such a large bulge. Unfortunately for this particular constrictor, that was the last time it would be seen alive. A short time later, the creature turned up dead, bulge still intact, so curious rangers decided to peep inside and find out what it had consumed, as one does, of course. Nothing weird or gross about that at all. What they would discover was a porcupine, and although they cannot be certain, it seems to have pierced the reptile's digestive system, fatally wounding it. The moral of the story being, don't eat porcupines. In the end, this python sure got the point. Number 3. Red-tailed hawk versus snake. There's something kind of chilling about the cool, casual way that this red-tailed hawk goes on about capturing this gopher snake. It has a hold of its fairly large snake, but is not seemingly that bothered about keeping a strong grip on it as it toys with the reptile, letting it get away a little and then recapturing it again. Over and over, it gets a strong talon around it, gives a little squeeze, and then releases it again. The snake attempts to break for freedom, but each time the red-tailed hawk is right there again, dangerously sharp claws poised to give the snake another helping. This game of cat and mouse goes on quite a while as the hawk ultimately just steps on the snake, holding it down while the snake attempts to coil itself up and around the big bird of prey. Pretty soon another hawk arrives and gets into a conversation with the first one, perhaps offering handy hints and tips from a safe distance. In the end, the hawk seems to have had enough of playing with the serpent and takes off with it clutched within its talons. Number 2. Battle between bobcat and rattlesnake in forest caught on video. While it's true that bobcats are pretty vicious animals, it is surprising that they're so eager to engage in a fight with a lethally venomous snake. Bobcats are not in possession of some magic immunity against a rattlesnake bite, so just how and why they do get so involved with these snakes is a mystery. In this wild footage that was captured in California, a bobcat can be witnessed demonstrating just how fearless and feisty these creatures can be when it takes on a big bad rattlesnake. The bobcat basically slaps the snake silly. That's right, it slaps it, and almost to death. Then when the snake has been sufficiently clobbered, the bobcat gets a hold of the rattlesnake by the head and gives it an undignified head munching till the rattling stops and it is very much dead indeed. Then the wildcat drags the snake off up the hill before returning to celebrate its victory by rolling around in the dust of the battleground. If the bobcat was bitten at all during the altercation, it doesn't appear to have suffered any ill effects, at least not immediately anyway, but it should probably be a lesson to snakes in general. Don't hiss off a pussy, they might just bite your head off. Number 1. Snapping turtle versus water snake. Snapping turtles are omnivorous, so they're partial to just about anything that happens to float past. They regularly eat plants, insects, spiders, worms, frogs, fish, and other small turtles, along with snakes and crayfish, and even small birds and carrion. They're not really all that fussy, and are kind of brutish in their behavior, so to see this guy having a go at a water snake is no real surprise at all. It is slightly weird, however, that the turtle has a hold of the snake by the tail. Most animals that attempt to eat a snake will usually go for the head. The turtle, though, just seems to be hell-bent on munching on the snake without all the bother of dispensing with it first. Yes, this turtle is just at the snake tail buffet till the animal in question gets upset and tries to get away, which it does, unsuccessfully to begin with, as the turtle keeps on with its chomping. It's delicious, even if a little bit wriggly. Snakes sometimes need to be taken down a peg or two. Those guys are always going about scaring people or trying to eat cute baby animals, so it's good to see some creatures taking a stand against these bullies of the animal kingdom. Which epic encounter was the most surprising to you? And what other animals do you think could take on a snake and win? Get typing in the comments below and tell me all about your ideas. Also, be sure to check out the other cool stuff showing up on the screen, and I'll see you next time.